Hey crafty friends, it's Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a layout share video for you. Usually around Christmas, New Year's is when I think about taking my stacks of completed albums and getting them into scrapbooks. So I started this process during the holidays and then I had to take a break and order more page protectors and more albums. There was a really good sale on right after Christmas for the Close to My Heart albums and page protectors. Those are my favorite. They're super sturdy and durable. So I'm just waiting for my order to come for that. But I had iris containers from Michaels, those clear containers. I had 4 of them full. So like 2 for 2020 and 2 for 2021. And as I make pages, I put them into those bins. If you want to see more about my process and how I kind of organize my workflow for layouts and getting them into albums, I'll make sure to link that down below for you so you can check it out after this video. But today I was getting ready to just kind of start sticking these pages into an album. And I thought before I do that, I should share some of them with you. So some of them you have seen before in other layout share videos. So I'm going to try and pull those out. If a couple get in there, I'm sorry. But I'm going to try and just show you ones I haven't shown you before. And I think we'll start with 2020. I might have to do a couple of different videos to get all these pages in because there is a lot. So let's go over to my table and get started. So I thought maybe I'd just start off by showing you what the Close to My Heart albums look like. I was kind of partway into this process before I realized, oh, I should show you these layouts before I get everything done. This is a post-bound album from Close to My Heart. It is faux leather. The covers are actually made out of like a thin board instead of like cardboard. They're actually made out of like a board, so they're very sturdy. And then this part here, you push it in and out yourself, so it comes with this part separate, but this finishes off the spine, nice and smooth. There are D-ring options as well. This is faux leather. This is the gray color. There is a range of colors. And then I like the post bound because a lot of the time I do 2-page layouts. So I like how everything looks flush together, no rings in between. That's just my personal preference. That doesn't, you know, a lot of people love the D-ring because they like the flexibility. Because D-ring is a lot easier to just pop pages in and out. It's a little bit less work. So that tends to be why I do it all at once. I will fill a whole album all at once instead of adding pages. It's just an easier process. I think there's probably, actually the glare is not too bad. I might be able to show you these just right in here. Some of these you have seen before, but now you can see that I have added the flip flaps. I had so many adorable pictures of my little Frankie puppy. I just couldn't decide, so I did several flip flaps. Originally, I was going to put them all in one stack, like 3 stacked together, but because this is on the inside close to the spine, it actually made it really thick. So by spreading them out, it kept everything flatter in here, which is really nice. I've already talked about this one in another layout share, but basically I have wood grain paper here that I stamped and embossed with white embossing powder. And then I took white pigment ink and an ink blender and just blended over those edges. So I think the ones you guys haven't seen yet, I am going to pull out of the page protectors because it's just too hard with that glare to show you guys when they're in the album. But I wanted you to see how nice they lay in here. Now, this album is looking a tad bit chunky, right? It's a little bit kind of gator mouthed here. I have ordered the replacement posts. So those are 1.5 inches. They automatically come with 1-inch posts. So I think I'm going to try putting in the 1.5 and just see if we can get this to lay a little bit, not quite so gappy. And then if you're wondering, you've never maybe seen a post bound album, how they go together, at the back here, these posts just unscrew like this. Now, once upon a time, Close to My Heart carried extenders, and that allowed you to make these huge, mammoth, thick albums that were basically too heavy to even lift. So now, you are limited by the like 1.5-inch posts if you want to get those extended, those longer ones. But you can see they're just screwed on there. They have this little part that flips out, so you can use that to screw and unscrew it. Pretty easy, these clear little washers. And then just one more. So it's definitely a little bit more work than just like popping open binder rings. But for me, the finished effect of how it looks when you flip through it, it's worth it to me. So you just kind of got to go with whatever is worth it for you and whatever's going to help you get layouts into albums, and that you will actually do it instead of avoiding the process. If posts are just like way too much work for you and you're going to avoid it, you might want to look at D-rings. Okay, you can see the albums come right apart. All my layouts here are stacked up on those posts. So I like to have the little screws on the back side, because then if you want to add a few pages at the end of an album, it's pretty easy. You just unscrew and add them on. You would hold your stack of layouts down, slip on your next couple and put the screws back on. But I need to swap out the screws anyways for the posts anyways for the longer ones. So I'm just going to take this whole stack out. If you were loading up this album, you would just put your pages on here. These are not even in order, but you get the idea. And then you would take your back cover, you slide it over top like that, and then just reverse the process that you saw me, where you just screw those into the posts. And of course, this will be full of layouts, so it does take a little bit of finagling to like get this on top and make sure these don't pop off the posts. All right, we're gonna start things off here with a single page layout. You can see this one has a ton of glitter. So I inked the background. This was done with a stencil. I inked through the stencil using Distress Oxide inks and a couple different shades of pink. And then I put the Stickles glitter gel through the stencil. I believe this was one that I actually taught for a Close to My Heart extravaganza for convention. So I have the gold Stickles glitter gel here, and then I have the clear, the moon dust around the outside. So there's two different colors of the glitter gel, and I just love the finish of that. It's so pretty. I typed up my journaling here, and then this is a thin cut from Close to My Heart. A lot of the stuff that I'm using is probably no longer available. Some of these layouts were made like 2-3 years ago. I might not remember the names of collections. So if there is things still, or if there are things still available, I will do my best to link them down in the description box for you. I will try and remember names, but I am horrible at remembering names for collections. So this one, I actually inked the thin cut, like the die cut piece, with those same two pink inks that I used here and just blended them together. And then that one was glued on top of the white shadow. And then we have little wood heart embellishments. These leaves were cut from a die as well that is retired. I love this one. I still use it quite a bit because I love these leaves. And yeah, this was 2020. So I was pregnant during the pandemic. It was a very interesting time. Definitely made things a little bit more challenging. All right, a lot of my layouts are 2-page layouts. Like I said, I love the post-bound albums because I do make a lot of double-page layouts. So this one was using a collection called Urban. It was very like grungy, boyish, and I definitely added a lot of girliness to it. I inked my edges with brown ink. This one was a pattern paper that was just super subtle, so I stamped on top of it with this map stamp. And then for all of my flowers here, I did some script stamping on top. I also edged it, and I used like some gold metallic paint to do all my edges. I also curled all my petals. These leaves here are cut from gold foil paper. And then I also have some like white cardstock cut out of the leaves as well, and butterflies. This is a retired die cut from Close to My Heart. And then on this one, this was a stamp and thin cut set. And then I have this large glitter ampersand. I think that was from a die cut pack. And then this was a stamp and thin cut as well. And I just shaded it a little bit with a pencil. And you can see how I ripped here to put the blue paper behind it. On the back side, what that looks like is just a strip of blue here. I was thinking I had used pattern paper, but I guess I used cardstock and I just sanded it first. And then I stamped it to make it look a little bit more distressed. So definitely a more labor-intensive layouts. If you guys watch my channel, you know I do tend to do a few of those. I like all those extra details. All right, here is a layout from when we first brought our daughter home. We were just like fresh out of the hospital. That's why I have quite a bit of journaling here. I took a large photo and I actually split it between the two pages. I believe this collection, I want to say it was called like Stitch Together or something like that, but that might not be right. But that's what comes to my mind as what it was called. And then this is actually a die set here that made that little ladybug, and there's a shaker in there. So definitely like a focal point embellishment. I have some circle photos. It is not often that I make circle photos anymore. I think because it reminds me of like the good old days when we cut our photos into all kinds of shapes. And this beautiful border is one of my all-time favorites. It's a thin cut from Close to My Heart that is retired now, but I bought two of it because I cut it so much that I wanted to be able to cut 2 strips at a time. There's actually 2 pieces here. So it's only about 6 inches long. So you need 2 to make a 12-inch strip. And then a lot of these flowers, the butterflies, little ladybug, all of these are from this collection. And we had Isabella in her little onesie that had a ladybug on it when we brought her home. This little doily. Stitch circles, any kind of stitch shape is still one of my favorite dies because it just adds a little bit of detail without taking away too much from things. I even border punched this one down here. And this definitely is a little bit of a busier page, but that is also why I put it on white cardstock. So you kind of have that break for your eyes at the top and the bottom. And then this nice large photo is almost a place for your eyes to rest as well, because there's a lot going on in these other clusters. Okay, another one, very early days home from the hospital, just tiny little baby. Hard to believe she was that little. This, I believe, was a Close to My Heart workshop. So a lot of these are stickers. These ones here are actually thin cuts. So actually die cuts that were stamped and then die cut out. And then just paper. And I have a little bit of splatter here, and that is done with a shimmer brush. I'm guessing it's probably the Lagoon shimmer brush. And then also some glitter gems. I love these because it's basically glitter trapped inside a gem. So you get the sparkle of glitter, but no mess. Same thing here. These are stamped and then die cut. More stickers. Lots of nice layers, but they're all kind of subtle, so they don't take away from my photos. I also love matting my photos. Here I have them in orange, so it's a contrasting color and kind of draws attention to those photos away from, you know, the bold colors in the background. This one was another Close to My Heart workshop. I do a lot of those. I make them each month with my VIPs. Sometimes we make them as is, and sometimes I change things up to my liking or to fit my photos. This one was fun because it's not often that I have such a big title. This one came already die cut, and then you just had to put the paper behind it and then all the little strips. So I have a couple of photos over here, and I could have even put more up here, like another photo up there if I wanted to, but I didn't have any more photos from this day. And then my photos over here with just little touches of embellishment, right? Little hearts and little banner pieces, the date, little borders. These are stickers from the sticker sheet. So pretty simple and easy to put together. Okay, a nice fun summer layout, nice and bright. This one has some acrylic pieces in it, and I have covered the top of those pieces with stickles. So you get the nice shine from the stickles and the dimension from the acrylic pieces. So the sun and the heart and the little flip-flops there. We have a sticker border here, and then the flowers were from, I think I just cut them out of the pattern paper. And everything is edged in black ink, which I don't do very often, but I felt like it needed the definition on this page. So that's what's going on there. And then same thing, I have another cluster over on this side. And then another acrylic piece down here. I love how these are kind of tucked under, looks like they're under the water or under the bubbles. Nice, fun, and simple summer layout. I will probably never forget the name of this paper pack because it was called Isabella, which was perfect because it was gorgeous floral pack, and that suited my needs perfectly. So this actually has pattern paper in the background. This was from the workshop kit. I don't often choose to put pattern paper in the background. Most of my layouts start on cardstock or white cardstock or a super subtle pattern paper. But yeah, this has like the big bold pattern in the background, which actually I really like on the finished layout. And then here I have ink blended, this pink ink behind the title. These are acrylic. You can see that dimension there. They're acrylic with stickers behind it. Look at that cutie face. So adorable. And all these pieces were from the kit. Same with these pieces here. There was a whole bunch of die cuts in this one that you just like pop out of the little die cut sheet. I have a little bit of journaling here, not a ton. I did put a little bit more on that side. And her looking at herself in the mirror. So cute. So cute. So really pretty. You could do all kinds of things with this. I like that these pieces here came die cut in the pack, so you didn't have to figure out how to get this angled perfectly. They just came that way. So you just punch them out and put them on the page. This is another one from that Isabella pack. This would have been the perfect collection if you were taking like a trip to Greece or something like that. But alas, we were not going anywhere. It was 2020. So this was our first day trip out to a city near us, and kind of just walking around the botanical gardens. I love this photo that my husband took. This has a really nice design. You can fit so many photos in here. Could really scrapbook a big event on this. And then, you know, you got a big title still, some embellishment. This one has ink blending in the middle of this die cut flower. And then this one has ink blending too. And then it has an acrylic flower over top, which is kind of nice, a layered effect. And then up here, these pieces are popped up. So some of these are flat, some of these have one level of popping up. This one has two. Some have acrylic pieces in the middle. So just kind of subtle details like that. And then I did type my journaling because I had a little bit to say, and I knew I would never fit all of it in that little space if I didn't type it. All right, I have another single page layout here, and I actually do have a video for this one, so I will link it below. This is kind of the start of my second album for 2020. So the layouts I showed you, plus a few more that you've already seen in other layout share videos, will be going in my first album for that year, and that's pretty much all I can fit in there. This is the start of the second year, which will be fall and into Christmas. So I have a lot of pages from that half of the year. You can see all the details for how this layout comes together in that video that I made. But I love this inked background that I did on here. It's just super interesting. And then these leaf die cuts, they have a solid die cut, they have a stamp, And then they also cut out this really thin like veining for each of the leaves, which is beautiful. So I actually stuck those veins on top of some acetate to make this a big shaker. So I have some like sequins and kind of fall themed sequins in underneath my shaker page. And then I have the beautiful glitter veins on top. And I actually die cut these out of glitter paper that had adhesive sheets, adhesive paper on the back side. And that was perfect because they're so delicate. And then putting them onto the acetate, I didn't want to have glue kind of seeping out underneath all of them. I also did some vellum leaves, put in here beside the pattern paper and the glitter leaves. And this was with the Crisp Air collection. I don't have a ton of that paper, just this blue one, this zip strip, and then a little chunk of it here. And then this was from the sticker sheet from Crisp Air as well. This one is from one of the workshop layouts for Crisp Air. I did change it up to suit my photos and just kind of make it work with what I had. I did type my journaling on this one, and I did also do a little bit of inking just around the edge of that to make it stand out a bit. I really like having these big 4x6 photos here. This was already done. This kind of die cut piece was done in the workshop kit for you. It was already punched out. You just had to like bend it all. So it's a very interesting feature, but I didn't want that to be the focal point. I wanted to have some good size photos on here as well. I have some paper die cut leaves, some sticker leaves. Some of them are pop dotted. And then the little like enamel shapes that went along with this collection. And then on this one, the title, those are all stickers under here as well. And then I did kind of an assortment of stickers and die cut leaves under here and then over here as well. So since I did change it up a bit, I can't remember exactly what I changed, but I know this was different than what they had. So I just tried to have little clusters of embellishments kind of scattered across the page to keep your eye flowing from one page to the next. It does feel like this is maybe a little bit of wasted space, but I do think the pattern is interesting, and I was still able to include good size photos. So these papers here are from the Pumpkin Spice collection, which was not this past fall, but the fall before. That was the fall collection, and this is from the workshop as well. So we have more die cuts and stickers, lots of clustering going on. And definitely we got a big like busy pattern paper in the background here. I added lots of gold splatter. This is with the Gilt gloss spray. So it's a really pretty gold, very reflective. And I like that it dries permanent, so it doesn't like rub away on your fingers or anything. There are some sequins clustered around here to add a little bit of sparkle in between all the die cuts. These were actually some fall photos that we took for ourselves. We just set up the tripod and snapped a few family photos. So I wanted to have some fall pictures, but didn't want to spend a lot of time or money on it. So we just did them ourselves with a tripod, and my husband is really good at setting that up. So I love how these turned out. And then we got another little cluster of embellishment, and you can see how the clusters just kind of go across the page. Same here, you have up in the top here and then down here to give you that visual triangle, and then a really good sized title as well. If you guys are enjoying this video so far, I hope you'll just hit the like button. That really helps me out and helps more people find me here on YouTube. This one here this was actually from a collection called Sweet as Honey. It had like a really big bee theme to it. So the hexagons, you can see there's hexagons in the background. I didn't really have any photos that I felt really went with it. So actually what I ended up doing was swapping out the purple. There was another color in here. I think it might have been the yellow color, but I swapped it out and added purple because I wanted to tie in the purple from my husband's graduation from his university. So I kept the basic design. There's lots of gold splatter from that same gloss spray. Love splattering with that stuff. It's super easy. This is a very geometric layout. We have all the hexagons. We've got the hexagons in the back. We have a lot of like square pieces. So it's very straight. I know, I just felt like it worked well with his photos, and I did a little bit of journaling about his university experience. He gave me some stats to write down for all the papers that he wrote, which is just like a crazy amount. I actually used the journaling stickers for this. So I had finished this layout already, and he had some more things that he wanted me to add. So I grabbed the journaling strip stickers, and I love these things because they're just so easy. So you have two different widths. They have the thicker ones down here, and then it gets thinner up here at the top. And I do have to say, I really love the thin ones. I tend to use those ones first. Probably what I should do is just cut these thick ones in half a little bit so that I can get a little bit more use out of them. But I love these because they're sticky, they're stickers. You can write right on here, cut them down to the size that you need, and then just stick them to your page. So I use those quite a bit, and I find it super handy for just adding in journaling all over the place. Now, even though I do December daily, I still want to scrapbook Christmas in like a 12 by 12 format. I just always have, probably always will. This is from one of the workshop kits again. This was the last Christmas's collection, I believe, the Holly and Ivy. Beautiful collection. I loved this one. Now, I have way more photos than this. This is like Christmas morning. I had way more than that. So I used the Pocket Plus to add more photos. These are awesome because they fit right in between your pages, and they do have the kind of the double seam that you need for post-bound albums so that they will lay flat in your album. If you have any pocket pages that just have one seam, those will kind of tent up and stick up in your albums if you are using a post-bound album. It doesn't matter for D-ring. It will work either way if there's just one seam. But I love that I can use these in my post-bound albums. And I have the 3x4 size here. And then I have some 4x6s. Now there is also 4x4. So you get 3 4x4s. There's also 4x6 landscape, so you can have landscape photos. And I love these things. They just go right in between your pages, and it just kind of works in with the rest of your story just to add more photos, more journaling. So this one was from the workshop kit, like I said. I believe I kept it pretty much exactly how they had it. The background here is sprayed again with that gold gloss spray. Love that spray. This isn't just splattered, it's actually like misted, sprayed on there. It does dry pretty quickly as long as it's a thin layer. So you don't need like a ton of drying time. I love that this was die cut already in the kit, and then this is a sticker that goes on top. The circles and everything were already die cuts, you just punch them out. Those workshops make it so super easy, and then tons of room for journaling. I had room to tell several stories and you know, more little strips. There's lots of places to add words on here. Now I have learned, and I do tend to keep my layouts pretty flat. So there is not a ton of dimension on these. And I do try to do that most of the time because I make so many pages. I want to fit as many as possible into my albums, and I don't want my albums to get all kind of like wrinkly from, you know, dimension on certain pages. It affects other pages when you put them in your albums. So I have shifted to doing largely flat layouts, a little bit of foam tape here and there, but not a crazy amount. Another layout from this Christmas, this was actually Christmas Eve. And I kind of maximize the journaling. Whenever there's like printed lines for journaling, they're usually not close enough together for me because I usually have more that I want to say. But I have some just hand sketched white lines there. I like this chalkboard look. This is that same Christmas collection. the next few layouts are all from the same collection and the same workshop. I usually like to do my Christmas all in one collection. So my albums have pages from all different collections, but when it comes to Christmas, usually I'm scrapbooking like last year's Christmas during this year's Christmas. So they usually end up being with the same paper. But I love the simplicity of this layout, a nice grid. You can never go wrong with a grid. I believe this was supposed to be a 4x6 photo, but instead I just put 2 3x4s. Reading the night before Christmas. So cute. These are all die cuts from that workshop kit, and then a few stickers sprinkled in here and there. That is a die cut as well. And same with this. This was die cut. So just lots of clustering going on. I pop dotted this sticker here. I love having all these little details just kind of like poking out from behind things, little clusters of die cuts. That is awesome. Clustering die cuts is my favorite if I don't have to add stickers. There are a few stickers in here, and if I could just have them all die cut, that would be my preference because it makes, you know, tucking things under and shifting them around a little bit easier. You can remove the sticky off of stickers, but you know, there's just a little bit of extra work. Okay, this was the last layout from that workshop, and these were the professional photos that we had taken. So cute. I love them so much. We've got this huge tree up here, tons of greenery. All these pieces are individual, so they were all kind of layered and tucked under individually. I have that big deer sticker down here. I'll hold this up so you guys can see a little bit more detail of all the layers. Some glitter die cuts in here. Paper again that was misted with that gold spray. I always like these little like word or phrase strips in here. And the circle as well, that was part of the sticker sheet. This deer like fawn pattern is so beautiful. I love that paper. I still actually have a little bit of this paper left. I bought another pack because I just love it so much. I'm sure I will want to use it again at some point. So I love the colors in here. They went really well with our Christmas photo colors. Yeah, just some really pretty details. We got more of that gold spray up there. And now I couldn't decide on what pictures I wanted to put on here. So my other option for adding more photos, the classic flip flaps. So I have 2 more flip flaps with more photos. Here, these are the 3x4 size, so those I will stick together and put on the outside of the page protector for up in that corner. I'm not sure which one will be on top, probably not that one. And then I have more of these ones. Oh, cute little smile. That one maybe will have to be on top. So whichever one I put on here, those are gonna go over that one. So I have enough room between these two to flip them up. But I always put my flip flaps on the outside of my page protector like I showed you at the beginning in my album. All right, guys, that's everything I have for you today. On the screen, there is a playlist with all my other layout shares, so feel free to click on that and keep watching. Check out some of the pages from this year, this is 2020, that you maybe haven't seen yet that are in those videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.